So Evan, are we good to go?
Yep, go for it.
Okay, cool. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I just want to introduce myself. So my name is Hayley Bachman. I'm the founder and president of the Mixed Roots Foundation. And thank you so much for joining us. And I see Controller Kathryn just jumping on. Hi.
Hello,
Thank
hello.
you so much for being part of this so special program.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Okay, we'll go to this next slide here. All right. So again, for the ones that just joined, welcome. Just want to do some Zoom keeping. So with the program that you're attending right now is our Freedom Train Portraits, and this is to honor and remember and celebrate the life and legacy of Dr. Joe White, but also to be presenting our inaugural mentoring scholars. And with that, we wanted to encourage all of you that our program is streaming live via YouTube. So for the ones that are not on Zoom, feel free to message your folks, anybody, your peeps, anywhere across the country, to go to youtube.com/mixedrootsglobal, and you will be able to see the program there. We are also going to be recording this program as well. So the live version will be available immediately after this program, but we are also going to have our amazing OCT 28 production team, who I'm going to have them introduce really quick, to have an edited version so that you guys can have a copy for yourself to cherish. So just want to mention too that we are do have the scholarship fund at the GoFundMe charity. And David McGinn, he's going to be sharing that link. So in case you feel inspired, you can donate. We've actually raised $2,500 so far just from the launch of this program beyond our mentoring scholars. So thank you so much. Now we can continue. And so again, just want to give a little brief background for those that don't know about Mixed Roots. So I actually drew this poster over 20 years ago in my high school art class. And now over 20 years later, it's the Mixed Roots Foundation. And Mixed Roots actually was already rooted in social justice. As a high school group, we actually organized and got Dr. Martin Luther King Day off for the whole school district in Owatonna, Minnesota. I actually was adopted from South Korea and grew up in Minnesota and grew up in Owatonna. And then I had the opportunity to go back to Korea twice. And after my second trip to Korea, Mixed Roots Foundation got established in 2011. So we actually just celebrated our 9-year anniversary. And it's been a journey. Our motto is from grassroots to mixed roots. But really the whole premise of Mixed Roots is all about identity, diversity, and unity. This actually will tie into the next slide about my my journey with my background, my degrees in sociology and social psychology, and went to the University of Minnesota. Go Gophers. And I think with growing up in a white family and being Korean and Asian and not knowing really my roots, and then also being adopted, I think having mixed roots, being able to bring people together to have that place where you belong was really established when, back in high school, but even now as a foundation. And so, we can probably go to the next slide there. And so with that, with our board of directors, again, over 9 years, we've had different people come and go, and we have our top rock stars here. Just want to introduce Kim Feeder, our chair, and I'll be introducing her in a little bit. She's with Banner Bank and is actually one of our sponsors for our mentoring scholars. We also have Shelby Jenkins. She's our vice chair. She's out of Dallas, Texas. Lily Birchstead. she's our treasurer. She's out of here in LA, and Bonnie Ryder. She'll be joining shortly as well, and she's actually in Vermont. And so I'm forever grateful for our board of directors. And we also have our honorary board and advisory board, and you can definitely check out mixedrootsfoundation.org to learn more about Mixed Roots and all the work we're doing. Just actually in May, which is National Foster Care Month, Mixed Roots is also now raises awareness and funds for the adoption and foster care community. And so we actually just wrapped up our foster challenge. We raised over $32,820 to distribute nationwide, which some of our community partners that will be here today talking about their impact on foster youth. As you know, with the global pandemic and the whole coronavirus, it has really uprooted a lot of foster youth and their families. And so we felt compelled to raise funds for them. And so our 26 community partners that joined us, and we teamed up with the Music is Unity Foundation, Earth, Wind and Fire, Philip Bailey and his family, and had a great time. So again, check out mixedrootsfoundation.org, and we're excited we're going to share more about what we're working on. So the reason why we're here today is, this is very, very moving for me. It took really, it's taken a lot of time for me to really process and to really, put this, my thoughts together for this. And I wanted to kind of just share. So with Dr. Joe White, and this actually starts back with Tony Wagner, which he'll be speaking about Pillsbury United Communities. I was doing mentoring program back in 2000, and I was attending a mentoring conference at Pillsbury United Communities, Spathany Community Center. And here's this, short, Dr. White, but he's Black, and he's presenting. And I was like, who is this guy? So I actually went up to him and I was like, hi, I just want to introduce myself to you. I'm, studying psychology. And then literally 2-3 months later, I get this note, a letter and note and card. And I was like, wow, he actually remembered me. And really the rest is history. So Dr. White would actually send me cards, invites to different events. And he actually sent me one of his copies of his books, Black Man Emerging. And I just rediscovered that. And that was in 2000. So, and then the next couple pictures where we always would have lunch, where a lot of people would have, is at Islands Cafe in Irvine. And these are the last couple of photos of him before he passed. And but I was so honored that I was able to give him our bag of Mixed Roots chips. And so he's sporting not only his Spartans hat, but also our Mixed Roots chips. And then we also recognized him at our 5-year anniversary as an organization at our Dodgers Adopting Night event. And so it was really special to have him there. And that's the quote he'd always tell me is, you always land on your feet. Just keep the faith, stay strong, and keep on keeping on. All right. So the folks that know him, that is exactly, it's like yesterday. So, and then with that, kind of the inspiration of Dr. White was, and this is actually before he passed, about the year prior, in our 5-year anniversary year, we had our inaugural mentor night with the LA Lakers. And that's when we actually announced the Dr. Joseph White Pioneering the Way Mentoring Scholarship Fund. And you will see throughout the Freedom Train portrait stories and the legacy, and then also for the future of mentoring and education and social justice, of what he has laid out for generations to come. And these are just some of the photos, just really quickly, when we invited him to be the honorary captain of our special inaugural mentor night. He was like, Holly, you know, this is really great. The last time I was at a Lakers game was when it was a Minneapolis Lakers in 1946. I'm like, wow. And, he is like 83 years old and he's now delivering the ball to the LA Lakers at Staples Center. So it's pretty special. And again, we're just really honored that, not only being able to partner with the Lakers, but also being able to really establish this fund for futures. So yeah, it was a great event. And you'll see a couple photos from that. And then it kind of goes, so with the whole Freedom Train, so we have the Dr. Joe White Scholarship. The whole kind of premise of Freedom Train portraits, it's, and you're going to hear I kind of say the OG Freedom Train folks. You'll hear from many of them that actually, with we have Dr. White's youngest daughter, Dr. Lisa White, going to be speaking shortly. And but they started Dr. Joe White's Freedom Train. And then I was thinking it would be great to have a space and a platform to be able to remember Dr. White, but also all the mentees that he's had in all the work and generations of mentees of the work that they're doing to highlight. And so we have a personal invitation to all of you that have joined to hopefully be able to continue the Freedom Train and join us. And with the global pandemic, wanted to just do a moment of silence of not only Dr. White, but also the most recent, the murder of George Floyd, and the kind of the global outcry of social justice and then also just most recently our civil rights leaders, Congressman John Lewis, C.T. Vivian, and then of course all the Black and brown folks that have died at the hands of police, and would just like to do a moment of silence for that. So thank you, everyone. So again, I think during this time, especially during this time with, we have many pandemics going on, and I think this event where we have as a board felt inspired to, create this event as an inspiration and hope. And also the biggest part of what Mixed Roots is all about is unity. So bringing all of us as a community together, and hopefully we can work together for the future in social justice. And I just had to make a quick shout out with Kamala Harris, mostly because she's mixed roots and she's representation, and it is all about the next generation. So go Mixed Roots. And then this is kind of part of our formal program here, our special remarks. So honored to have Fiona, Controller Ron Galprin, and Jeff Street, our sponsor, Banner Bank, and each one of them have some special remarks to make with not only the special program, but our mentoring scholars. So would love to share with you our first one, which is going to be California State Treasurer Fiona Ma. She actually has also become one of my longtime mentors. She also serves on the advisory board. And here's a few words for our event and our mentoring scholars.
Hi, my name is Fiona Ma. I'm your California State Treasurer, and it's been an honor to serve on the advisory board for Mixed Roots for the past 9 years. I'm always impressed with Holly Bachman's desire to find new ways to support and promote our foster youth and adoptees. And this year, I'm proud to announce the inaugural Dr. Joseph White Scholarship winners. The late Dr. White was a big advocate for mentorship. He was a pioneer for many programs supporting minority students. And this year, in his honor, we congratulate the following 5 honorees from San Francisco: Madeline and Jaslyn; from Los Angeles, Hayley and Daniel; and Jessica from New York. Congratulations on being mentors and mentees, and we look forward to your leadership path as you lead the next generation. Congratulations.
Yay. Thank you so much, Fiona. She's been such a champion, and just also with Fiona, she's done a lot of legislation on many causes, but also even for foster care. She's worked very closely with Senator John Burton, and we've partnered up with the John Burton Advocates for Youth as well. So thank you so much, Fiona. And now I'd love to introduce Controller Ron Galperin, LA City. He has been a huge supporter of Mixed Roots Foundation for the last several years. And just want to read very briefly, he is the taxpayer's watchdog at City Hall, making sure public dollars are spent efficiently and effectively. He is also the elected paymaster, auditor, and chief accounting officer for the city of LA. No pressure. Controller Galperin also oversees a team that conducts independent audits, manages city payroll, spending, prepares financial reports, pursues fraud and waste, and works to create a more transparent and accountable city for everyone. His reports are improving street maintenance, arts funding, management of special funds, LA's trees, emergency services, and many other city functions. So I'm so honored. Welcome, Controller Galperin. We're honored to have you here to share your remarks.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Los Angeles City Controller Ron Galperin. So pleased to be with you here. Thank you, Holly, for inviting me to not just be part of this, but for so many other Mixed Roots events that you have had. I'm sure that everybody on this call knows Holly, but she is a force of nature and has tremendous will to just get things done and to build bridges and to bring people together. And so congratulations on all that it is that you're doing. And the work of Mixed Roots, is, as you said, is about identity, and it's about diversity and about unity. 3 words that we need a lot more of in this world, and that couldn't be more important at this time. And the work particularly for kids who are adopted and kids who are in foster care or have been is so vital. When you look at, for example, our crisis of homelessness in the Los Angeles area, we know that there is a tremendous connectivity between those who have been through the foster care system and those who are today experiencing homelessness. But we can prevent that by early on intervening and providing a better life for these young people so that they can grow into an adulthood in strength and with the resources that they need. So this is also a wonderful event in that it is the inaugural event honoring the legacy of Dr. Joe White. And he was really a pioneer, as we all know, in the field of Black psychology and psychiatry, but also in doing everything that we have to do to propel our society forward for justice, for social justice, for racial justice. And the events of the last couple of months really help us to focus on how that is so vital and how much work we still have left to do as a society. So I want to, on behalf of the City of Los Angeles, congratulate the inaugural recipients of the scholarship. And again, thank Mixed Roots for all that it is that you're doing. The gift of education is the best gift that anybody can possibly have. It makes all the difference. And it is the education itself, but it's also teaching young people how it is that you go about learning, because learning is a lifelong process, hopefully one that we are each doing every single day that we are on this earth. And education is not just about imparting knowledge and information, but hopefully helping to create greater wisdom and helping people learn from a young age how it is that you can continue to be a learner for the rest of your life. And thank you so much for all that it is that you're doing. And, you know, we are here virtually in new ways in this new world that we are living in, but reaching out one to the other and holding hands, even though we're not doing it one-on-one, but virtually in this way is very meaningful. Great to be with you. Congratulations. And thank you on behalf of the whole city of Los Angeles.
Wow. Thank you so much, Ron. We're so honored. Thank you so much. We look forward to continuing to partner with the city of LA, and hopefully when we get back into in-person and live events that you can come and join again.
Would love to. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. And thank you, Renita, for helping to coordinate you. Thank you. Excellent.
Thank you.
And then I would love to introduce my board chair, Kim Feeder, and she is a senior VP at Banner Bank, and she focuses on financial services that assists companies and working capital. And she was previously held level positions with the Union Bank, Wells Fargo, and then also she obviously serves as our board chair, and she's going to introduce our sponsor, Mr. Jeff Street. So thank you, Kim.
Thank you so much, Holly. You know, I look at Jeff's picture and his smile, it's just so familiar, and it embodies his whole spirit. And so I'm pleased to introduce him. Jeff Street is a banking executive, and he finds joy in helping organizations and also individuals meet their financial goals. He has held executive positions in banking in the Pacific Northwest and continues here. We are lucky to have him here in Los Angeles as Senior Vice President at Banner Bank, leading the Los Angeles and the Inland Empire regions. Jeff is a graduate of George Fox University, earning a bachelor's degree in management and organizational leadership. He is also a graduate of WBA's Executive Development Program and the Pacific Coast Banking School, which is very coveted. He is currently enrolled in the UCLA Certificate Leadership Program. Jeff loves representing Banner in the community and being involved in his community. He has an impressive resume in community partnership and service. When in the Pacific Northwest, he was a United Way of Southern Oregon board member, or board member for SMART, which is Start Making a Reader Today, and a Junior Achievement board member. Also, having been a board member of Financial Beginnings in Oregon when he arrived in Southern California, Jeff quickly identified an opportunity to found a chapter in Southern California. And so he is now on the board of Financial Beginnings in Southern California. Another passion of Jeff's is volunteering his time with Habitat for Community. He just loves people and his community. Personally, in working with him, I can say Jeff is dedicated, reliable, responsive, enthusiastic, and always willing to help and lend a hand. In my experience, he is one of the best partners I have to work with. And so with a sincere appreciation, I am pleased to introduce Jeff Street, Senior Vice President and Retail Division Manager for Banner Bank in Los Angeles and Inland Empire. Please go ahead, Jeff.
Yay.
Wow, that was pretty. That's a tough act to follow there, as far as all the accolades there, Kim. Thank you so very much, and thank you for including me to make special remarks commemorating Dr. Joe White, his legacy, and celebrating our 5 inaugural scholars. Again, you know, Banner Bank is very proud to be a sponsor of these scholarships in our event today. When I was asked to speak on behalf of Banner Bank, I of course enthusiastically accepted without hesitation. What is being recognized today is remarkable and imperative for our society. And of course, 2020 has been a very difficult year, starting in LA with Kobe Bryant's passing, and he was one of my heroes for sure. And of course, a partner of Joe White's in advocating for mentoring. What a great example he was. And then on to the COVID-19, our global pandemic, and of course, George Floyd's murder and the evolution of the thriving social justice movement in our communities, illustrating the change that many are seeking. It is important to now pivot to keep going and inspire hope and change within ourselves and for our next generation. Mentoring and education, as it's been mentioned before, are important pillars of lifting up an individual. It is an honor today advocating for both, especially for students of color. Before I talk about how mentoring has made a difference in my life and share my experience, I'd certainly like to highlight Dr. Joe White and his accomplishments. Unfortunately, we lost him in 2017, but his legacy certainly lives on. Dr. Joe White accomplished what few do. He was Professor Emeritus of UC Irvine, founder of Cal State Educational Opportunity Program that has allowed over 250,000 students to attend college. I mean, that's incredible. For many of these recipients, they have been first in their families to do so. Notably, in 1968, Dr. White helped to found the Association of Black Psychologists. Before Dr. Joe White unexpectedly passed in 2017, Mixed Groups Foundations established that scholarship in honor of Dr. White, namely Dr. Joseph L. White Pioneering the Way Mentoring Scholarship. Continuing his legacy supporting education and mentoring, today Mixed Roots Foundation is proud to announce and celebrate these 5 inaugural Dr. Joe White Mentoring Scholars for 2020, who serve both as mentors and mentees nationwide. These individuals have demonstrated their own success and a desire of furthering their educational dreams and goals. My own experience in my past represents both being a mentee and a mentor. On the business side, I sought out a mentor when I first got into banking, and my mentor, Malcolm, helped me learn the business and seek the right opportunities when the time came. I've returned that good deed as I have gained knowledge and helped others in their quest to make banking a career. On the personal side, I'm of course a big sports fan, and besides my dad being a mentor to me in my whole life, I've used the teachings and life example of John Wooden, legendary UCLA figure and coach. His pyramid of success, and if you haven't looked it up, look it up, has guided me in my quest for honesty, integrity, teamwork, and doing the right thing throughout my life. I have coached and mentored children both in youth leagues and with the Boys and Girls Club, and thoroughly have enjoyed that aspect of my life. Although fulfilling and necessary, it is such a greater reward being a mentor and giving of your time than being a mentee. But obviously one is not exclusive of the other. People are hurting, and this is a great time to step up. Back to our purpose for meeting today. Personally, I am honored to give a heartfelt congratulations to all of today's inaugural Dr. Joe White Mentoring Scholarships for 2020. I would like to close with a quote that I found truly simple, profound, and reflects how mentors in my life have made me feel. A mentor is someone who allows you to see the hope inside yourself, and that was Oprah Winfrey. Thank you for your time and for your support, for helping youth in our communities, and thanks for allowing me to be here.
Wow, thank you so much, Jeff. We're honored, and thank you for taking the time out of your very busy schedule. And we look forward to our continued partnership with you, and as well as with Kim. So thank you. And Kim has been wonderful. She's fabulous. We're grateful to have her.
She is the best. She's awesome.
As we thank you again for all of our special remarks, our guests, featured speakers, and wanted to move to our, this is just really a quick video that will go into sharing Dr. White's legacy. But before that, I wanted to have all of you just take a quick look at this, this slide that represents the legacy that Dr. White had across the country. Michigan State, he was actually the first PhD in Black PhD in psychology at Michigan State, and then he started the Association of Black Psychologists, as Jeff mentioned in his bio. He actually, just a quick note, when Dr. White, he was actually born in Lincoln, Nebraska, but then grew up a portion of his upraising in Minneapolis, and before going to San Francisco, where his aunt encouraged him to go, he tried to go to the University of Minnesota, but he got denied because he was Black. So about 50 years later, this is about I think Lisa can share more, but he actually got an honorary doctorate from the University of Minnesota. And so we wanted to recognize that and really going back to his roots. And we have Tony Wagner again with Pillsbury United Communities, where his old stomping grounds were. And so it's a pretty cool story. UCI, of course, that's where he was a professor emeritus and has done a gigantic amount of work, and hopefully you'll be hearing from some of his esteemed mentees and colleagues. California State, Long Beach, that's where he started kind of the whole EOP program, and then University of San Francisco, Chicago School of Professional Psychology. He started programs there, serving advisors, and then of course San Francisco State is actually where he got his undergraduate. So again, a footprint, a whole trail of legacy across the country. So here's a quick video to kind of just capture Dr. Joe White.
While the conductor makes his round.
So hope all of you enjoyed that, and hopefully many of you maybe saw yourself, got a little cameo. So to continue on with the legacy of the story of Dr. White, we're so honored and so excited to have my soul sister join us. We have Dr. Lisa White. She is actually pioneering her own way with the field of science. And I'm just going to read a little bio on her to formally introduce her, and just to share, here's some photos of Dr. White's family that you've seen earlier, 3 daughters, and then his wives, and then cousin Brett Waterfield, which I just saw, who was able to join us. So that's awesome. But Dr. Lisa White, she is the Director of Research and Education Outreach for the UC Berkeley Museum of Paleontology. She is also has had past positions held, including Professor of Geosciences at San Francisco State, following her educational footsteps of her dad, and the Geosciences Department Chair, Associate Dean of the College of Science and Engineering at San Francisco State. Dr. White has extensive experience with science education programs for underrepresented students, and she is active in efforts to increase diversity in geosciences. A micropaleontologist, that's a full mouth there, by training and fellow of the California Academy of Sciences and the Geological Society of America. Dr. White was the inaugural recipient of the GSA Bromley Award for Minorities. As chair of the American Geophysical Union Diversity and Inclusion Advisory Committee, Dr. White has worked to create a culture that embraces diversity and respect in the advancement of the earth and space sciences. As education director at the Museum of Paleontology, she develops and disseminates learning materials on evolution of the fossil record, virtual geological field experiences, and the nature and process of science. Dr. White holds degrees from San Francisco State, BA in geology, and the University of Santa Cruz, PhD in earth sciences. So welcome, Lisa, Dr. White. So great to have you here, and would love to hear some of your reflections on your dad's legacy and the path that you're taking right now and for the future.
Thank you, Holly, for that wonderful introduction. And this is such a lovely program. Congratulations to you, to the Mixed Roots Foundation and your board for all you do. And I'm so excited to hear more about the mentees and scholarship winners this year. And of course, as a member of the family, so I'm Joe's youngest daughter, and I'm zooming in from here in San Francisco, which was my dad's favorite city. You know, he met my mom at San Francisco State in the 1950s, and then I was fortunate to be a student at SF State in the 70s and 80s, and then come be a faculty member at the university when I finished my PhD. But what I wanted to share is that when we reflect on these past few months, you know, everything that's happened since the George Floyd murder and the need for attention on Black lives, Dad was defining the importance of how Black lives mattered when he published the article in Ebony magazine in the 1970s. It was 1970. In fact, this fall is the 50th anniversary of the publishing of what's recognized as the first article to really define Black psychology. So Towards a Black Psychology as the article. And my sisters, Lori and Lynn, we were excited because the Jackson 5 was on the cover of that particular Ebony magazine issue. So we thought, well, Dad must really be somebody, you know, he's an Ebony with the J5 on the cover. So, you know, as a kid, that's how you define, right? The worth of your parents is if you can connect with them through something that matters to you. So of course, throughout the years in my own professional training and education, and even though it's in a field different from Dad's, you know, I just tried to keep that spirit of making a difference, the importance of each one teach one and paying it forward. And so many of you knew my dad well, that he had so many sayings that would just crack you up, right? Because half of his slang was rooted in the 60s. So whatever you were going to get was going to get a dose, you know, of Black power and, you know, keep on keeping on, keep the faith. And of course, you know, keeping a healthy suspicion of white folks was very much how he operated too. So as I created my path, you know, in earth science and found myself, you know, very much a pioneer in a discipline of science that's not very diverse at all. You know, it's still not. But I refuse to ever let that stop me because I enjoy the discipline so much. And so as part of my way of each one teaching one and really invoking that spirit of mentoring, I oversee a number of programs for youth just to get them interested in earth science and paleontology. And, you know, all kids love dinosaurs and fossils. And even though that's not my main specialty, you know, I recognize ways that we can hook people that think they may not like a particular science, but maybe they don't know that much about it. And to just share a story that I think links my philosophy to Dad's is one of his old school sayings was, you know, don't sell no wolf tickets. It's like, first of all, what is a wolf ticket? You know, and second of all, why don't you just say, you know, be honest, you know, don't try to, you know, sell some goods that you can't back up. So I always think about, all right, well, with it, whatever I'm doing, you know, I want it to be true to form and reflective of what I'm passionate about, and really try to support the graduate students I work with at Berkeley who really seek to be better mentors, and especially now where everyone's invested in diversity and inclusion. And so I, as many of you are, we're all getting tapped to really contribute to ways that we can really strategize to be more inclusive in all our disciplines. So some of the programs that I've run over the years include opportunities to get urban youth out to national parks and all these great geological areas. And so one year that I remember well, I was taking a group of students to the Grand Canyon. And so, you know, we were super excited, and I certainly was, because I want young people to feel as enthusiastic about earth science as I do. You know, and what better place to do that than to take them to a place where the scale, you know, and grandness of what you see is just overwhelming. But at the same time, you know, I don't want to sell wolf tickets to these students. You know, I really want to keep it real and make sure they know what it is we do in the science, that it can be a little bit odd and different. So it's, you know, takes a little while to make this drive. We were stopping along the way at some different geological spots so that we could highlight, you know, just what's special about these park areas. We even met with some Native American elders. One of my partners in the National Science Foundation grant that supported the work is Native American. And so he would very much make sure that we connected with the people whose lands, you know, we oftentimes were on. So we get to this one spot, and, you know, I'm ready to explain to the students what's important about the geology and paleontology there. And one of the students, this high school student, said to me, "Is this real?" And at first I was taken aback. I was like, what does he mean? Is this real? Now we just spent, I don't know how much money, you know, getting all of you here. I've been talking for 2 weeks about what geology is. And then I take you to this beautiful geological area in the Grand Canyon. And you ask me, is this real? I was like, does he mean like, was it made by somebody else? Or is it like at Disneyland where they have, you know, the fake rocks behind the rides? So we just have all this back and forth. But what it illustrated to me was the need to, you know, really keep it real with students and make sure, just in the whole frame of what we're trying to do with our disciplines, make sure what we do is relevant. And so I spend a lot of time in earth science just working on environmental justice issues, you know, our connection to the land, you know, the importance of understanding natural history, even when you live in an urban area. I mean, we connect with nature as much as other folks do. And I mean, look at the incidents, the black birder in New York City earlier this year. And so really dispelling some of those myths and stereotypes about what real scientists are and what kind of real work we do, and why it's important to think about other disciplines as we just encourage youth to find their passion. And so I just really thank all of you for supporting my dad, and let's all, you know, not sell any wolf tickets when we do our work. So thank you, Holly.
Yay. Thank you so much, Lisa. Dr. White. And so awesome. And it's actually very inspiring. Also, with you being the youngest, to be kind of pioneer in your own way. And thank you for coming out to support our events. I know you've come to a couple of our events as well, and we look forward to continuing the partnership as well with your dad's scholarship fund. So thank you so much. So with that, so you've heard from Dr. White's family. Would like to now go to our Freedom Train, continuing our Freedom Train, and just some more reflections from the past, present, and future. And we have Dr. Leanne Caldwell. He's a managing partner of Ujima Developers. He's out of Maryland, and would like to call him out and have him share some reflections and his memories of Dr. White. I think, I don't know if he's on, Dr. Caldwell, Dr. Leanne Caldwell. Well, with that, we can also move to him if he's not on right now. We can move to Dr. Nita Tewari. Nita is a consultant of Nita Tewari PhD Consulting Services, and she is based in Orange County, and she is a force as well, and very honored to tag team. I always share the Asian persuasion, and so Dr. Tewari, thank you so much for joining us, and would love to hear your over 30 years, I think, with your relationship, mentor relationship with Dr. White, and you're also pioneering your own way with the work that you're doing. So Dr. Tewari, welcome.
Thank you, Holly. Thank you, Mixed Roots Foundation, for organizing this. Dr. Lisa White, loved hearing your beautiful words, and wonderful to see many of the names and faces who are my peers and colleagues and friends from the Joe White Freedom Train. So, you know, I had the wonderful opportunity to be mentored by Dr. White for nearly 30 years. I actually met Joe, I call him that endearingly, 30 years as a UC Irvine undergraduate community college transfer student and daughter of 2 Indian immigrants from India. And over the decades, Dr. White has inspired me and hundreds of others, both personally and professionally, in encouraging us to examine who we were ethnically and racially, and what it means to be a person of color in the United States. I don't think I really examined what it meant to be, you know, Indian ethnically, but, you know, racially Asian American. And as a shout out, yes, woohoo, Kamala Harris. So both representing, love seeing my face and her as well. And, you know, when I think about Dr. White, you know, his teachings were really priceless in connecting us with other mentees from the Freedom Train, really at all career stages, at all developmental levels. That was one of his many gifts. And, you know, I think when I think about Dr. White, I think about his incredible ability to have been able to mentor across ages and races and gender, religions, and sexual orientation. And, you know, he would often talk about, well, you know, mentoring would be very much a reciprocal relationship, but you needed to have vibe and chemistry with the people that you mentored. So, you know, when I think about his legacy that he's left behind, and kind of taking his mentorship forward, you know, is really being able to bring others onto the Freedom Train in whatever path it is for them. And he was able to facilitate that individual yet very collective way of bringing out the best in someone. And no matter whatever their path was, whether it was politics or psychology, education, law, and so on. So, and I think any one of us who knew Dr. White or who was mentored by him, you know, you would often feel this sense of, geez, Dr. White, what can I do to repay you for the significant and profound impact that you've had in, you know, in my life or our lives? And he would consistently just come back and say, you know, in his wonderful, beautiful, raspy voice, well, you know, I don't need nothing. I don't need nothing from y'all. You know, what I want y'all to do is go make a difference for 5 people. And then they're going to go make a difference for 5 more people. And then that's how we make this world a better place. And that's what he taught all of us, mentees whose lives have been touched by him. And I mean, I definitely think Dr. White has made this world a better place. And although Dr. White is no longer with us, he is forever going to remain the eternal conductor of the Freedom Train. And it's really now up to us Freedom Train riders, to carry on his legacy of mentorship by continuing to mentor across ages and races and ethnicities and those with mixed roots and so on, and different stages in our lives. So when I think about, mentoring throughout the nation and locally, nationally, I think the important part is whatever track our mentees want to ride on. I think for me, I will continue for as long as I always get emotional. I will continue to invite others, whether they want to join as train cars or passengers, to ride on the Freedom Train with me and carrying on his legacy. So, so salute to Dr. White and all of his mentees, and to future generations to come, and the scholars who are recipients of the Mixed Roots Foundation. So thank you for this opportunity to say a little bit.
Thank you so much, Nita. Dr. Tuari, we really appreciate your words of inspiration and reflection. So to move on, we have Tony Wagner from Pillsbury United Communities. He was the former president and CEO for, well, I'm going to have him share his legacy with that community there. I think he's mentioned to me earlier over 40 years, but Tony was the Pillsbury United Communities was the stomping grounds of Dr. White, and of course it's a social justice community organization that does so much work for the community. And Tony, thank you so much for joining us, and we'd love to hear some of your words.
Well, thank you, Holly, very much. Before I go any further, I have to commend Nita for her impression of Joe White. That was spot on. Brought back a lot of memories. I met Dr. White in a very roundabout way about 20 years ago. We at Pillsbury had an annual Be the Change community dinner where we would invite 200 to 300 people to come, and we always try to find a speaker who would energize and promote the kind of work that we were doing. And before the meeting that I met Dr. White at, one of my board members popped in my office one day and said, "I just read a book that I think you ought to read. It's really good." And it was Black Man Emerging. And I read that book, and I immediately said, I grabbed my development director and I said, we got to get this guy to come and talk to us. And so she, on a whim, she called the publisher, and they connected her with Joe, and she reported to me that she talked to Joe, and Joe said, "Oh yeah, I know Minneapolis." He said, "I'll be there." And sure enough, he showed up at our event, and I had asked him to talk about the book, Black Man Emerging. So we get there, and I meet Dr. White, and I find out that he part of his childhood was spent at Pillsbury House, our agency, and he told me a couple of wonderful stories, and I said, "Dr. White, go for it. Tell us about your experiences." And so he got up and delivered an impassioned, powerful testimonial for the work that our kind of agency did in his life, and it energized the crowd like nothing I've ever seen. And so I had the distinct privilege of keeping in touch with him over the years after that, and I've always considered him one of the most insightful and powerful people in my life, and I know that he impacted so many people in the city of Minneapolis. Ironically, not ironically, I mean, tragically, my office for most of my career was 2 blocks from where George Floyd was murdered. And it just is powerful that people like Joe White were around and to help us all make it through this I guess all the time. He was there, and he was a remarkable human being, and missed greatly by all of us at Pillsbury United Communities. Thanks again for being here. Congratulations to the mentees that are about to start their work, and I know Jill would be pleased. So thank you, Holly.
Thank you so much, Tony, for being here and sharing your words. And again, just the going back to the roots is so important. So thank you. Now I'd like to introduce Mr. Gary Cunningham. He's the president and CEO of Prosperity Now, but a Minneapolis native. And I'm so honored to have him be part, because he was actually my former super boss when I was working with Hennepin County at the North Point Health and Wellness Center. And interestingly, I'd met with Dr. White prior to that. And then later on, finding out that Gary was also a mentee. And so it's just been wonderful to share stories and to continue to partner with Gary. So Gary, thank you so much for being part of this, and also even supporting mentoring scholarships for the foundation. And would love to hear your many stories. I know Dr. White treated you like an adopted son. So I can't wait to hear your reflections. So Gary.
Holly, thank you for doing this project, which Dr. White would have loved because mentoring was so close to him. So my hats is off to you for lifting him up. And lifting up the work of mentoring young people so that we can have a world and a society that works equally well for everyone. And I also want to thank my friend, Tony Wagner. I also grew up in the Pillsbury neighborhood house. And without Tony and the work that he did, I wouldn't be here today. And Tony and I partners over the years on a number of different things. Just an honorable person, and we both love Dr. White. I just want to shout out to Lisa for her great work that she continues to this day, but also the fact that she walks in Dr. White's footsteps with her mentoring and her success. Just starting off, Dr. White was so instrumental in my life. I had no idea. I was working on a project called African American Men Project when I was the director of planning and development for Hennepin County. And in that role, we were trying to look at the conditions and what are the solutions to have young African American men at that time in Hennepin County fully a part of the society, fully a part of the opportunities that were abundant in the Twin Cities. And we did a 3-year project looking at the conditions of African American men and then developing solutions. And on that journey, I had the opportunity, someone from the University of Minnesota came to me and said, we're trying to bring this person in town. He's written this book called Black Men Emerging. And would you help? And so I didn't really know who he was. And so I took the book home over the weekend and read it. I mean, I couldn't put it down. And the power of Black Men Emerging was that everything that I was reading at the time was a negative narrative of African American men and boys. And I was very disappointed and disgusted at that point, because really I wanted to uplift young men and show them that there was possibilities of that they could actually be a part of our society. And Dr. White's book was the first one I read that actually framed young men in a positive light, that had a framework around these young men that really focused on their strengths and not just on weaknesses that are happening in the community. And so I read the book over the weekend. I came back and said, absolutely. And the surprising thing about it was that when I met Dr. White, I was, I didn't know, he had this distinguished resume, but he was so down to earth. and so matter of fact about his work. And he had no inhibitions. He didn't put on airs. No matter where he was or how he was Dr. White in all of those different occasions. So I got to meet heads of state governors and folks that were heading universities, and he'd be the same person in the room no matter where we went. But I get ahead of myself. I met him in one of the things that we started talking about is his history in Minneapolis. And he said he grew up in the tenements and on the West Bank. And my grandparents had come here and lived in that space. And as we talked, it became very clear that he knew my mother. He said her name. And then he knew a lot about me that I didn't even know about. And then I went home and talked to my mother, and she said, "What do you mean, little Joe White? Really?" And so here he was, this young African-American, brilliant young man that lived a block away from the University of Minnesota, but wasn't ever asked to attend or be a part of that august institution. And he needed to go out to California and spread his good deeds throughout California. I'm not beating up on California, but we should have got some of that back in Minnesota. He was able to transform. He began the first African American Studies program in the United States of America at San Francisco State. I mean, you think about the power of that. He and I did a lot of work together. He worked with me as a consultant when I was at the Northwest Area Foundation. And we started a project called the African American Leadership Forum that brought together African American leaders to form their own agenda about what they think should happen, rather than the agenda being forced on them. And that project is still alive and well in the Twin Cities, but it's also in Portland and in Omaha and Seattle, and he just had in Philadelphia. He left in Pittsburgh. He left a mark, and people who ever met Joe, who interacted with Joe, loved Joe. And so it was hard. He had so many people coming at him for his time and attention that I was just surprised that he could actually handle all of that. And every Sunday for years, I would get a call from Joe White. "Okay, Gary, give me the rundown." Give me the rundown. I want to hear it. And it was just such a powerful mentorship that he mentored me. And he was always getting me to look at the bright side of what was going on and not the gallows side of what was going on. I had him present to young people in different spaces, and he could always immediately connect. His energy, his drive, his thinking, his passion. But he'd always tell me, "Gary, now, I'm not on the clock, so I'm not going to give you any psychological advice now." But and just, he just comes back to me. I participated in 2 books with Dr. White, 2 revisions of his book, Black Fathers, An Invisible Presence in America, which is another power. I'm not trying to sell a book here, but it's a powerful framing of Black fathers from a positive perspective. The fact that, and it tells the story of fathers being in young people's lives and their lives and how they care and what they care about. And this question of the father hunger that people have, and that there are other father surrogates like uncles and brothers and et cetera, that we look at the family structure in the wrong way and from a lens of a middle-class white view of families. So he taught me so much that I am just honored to be here. I'm honored to share just a little bit of a remarkable human being, one who lived his life to the fullest and is an example how to live a purposeful life. Dr. White's life had meaning. His life had context, it had texture, and it had human experience at the center. So all these mentors, these hundreds of mentors, all of these people out here, it's a big loss to have Dr. White not walking the earth, but you can help now by contributing to the Freedom Train, which Dr. White contributed to hundreds, if not thousands of definitely thousands, because I've met probably 1,000 myself, that he helped get either PhDs or masters or undergrad. I mean, he was someone that would give. So I'm asking everybody here to take the opportunity to open your wallets and contribute something to the Freedom Train in honor of this great man. So thank you, Holly. I'm just so touched and moved when you kind of reached out to me. Your work will also live on beyond you. So thank you so much. And I really appreciate everybody's opportunity to be here. Let me know if there's anything else I can do to support my mentor, my friend, Dr. Joseph White. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Gary. You're so inspiring, and just really your story just really, like everyone else, really brings the whole legacy of Dr. White and just to continue on. So I appreciate the little plug for the Freedom Train. So excellent. Now we're going to continue our one of our final panelists, Denise Fan. She is a medical student at University of Washington in Seattle, and she is also a fellow mentee and would love, and I actually met Denise while we were at one of Dr. White's new programs at University of San Francisco when Denise was up there. So Denise, welcome, and feel free to share your reflections of Dr. White.
Thank you, Holly, and thank you everyone for sharing your very touching stories of Dr. White. I'm so honored to be speaking on this panel, and thank you, Holly, for the creativity and innovation in your work with Mixed Roots Foundation. Dr. White would be so proud. Dr. White, I've been thinking a lot about Dr. White ever since the passing of George Floyd, particularly because I knew Minnesota was home for Dr. White. And I've been thinking a lot about him because I think he has taught me so much as to what it means to be a good mentor and to also cultivate that relationship as a mentee. I met Dr. White in San Francisco, his favorite city, in 2012, so 8 years ago now. And I met him through Lynn Tracy, a psychologist who's based in Berkeley, and she's one of Dr. White's mentees and asked me to come along to one of his talks at USF. And immediately Dr. White embraced me and just said, "Welcome aboard the Freedom Train." And I will never forget that. At that time, I had been a few years out of college. I did my undergraduate at UC Berkeley and stuck around. And I had been doing community organizing for Black and Brown communities in the San Francisco Bay Area and throughout the state of California. And while I was doing that work, I became really interested in mental health and thought about a career change, and specifically mental health for minority communities. And so meeting Dr. White was tremendous. It was sort of a pivot point in my life. And Dr. White, I mean, I know he's a counseling psychologist, but he has everything that I would want to embody as a future physician. And as my mentor, he had a way of making me feel seen and heard. And that was just so humane. Just when you interact with Dr. White, the presence that you feel is just unbelievable. It's love. And so I hope I will be able to continue that as a future physician and as a future mentor as well. I'd like to share a quote that Dr. White shared with me, and it's one that I don't know if he often shared, and it's by Ernest Hemingway. And it's, "The world breaks everyone, and afterward, many are strong in the broken places." And I've been reflecting about that quote a lot since. We talked about that quote quite a bit, and we would refer back to it. And now that when I think about it, now when I reflect on it, I think about how Dr. White always saw my strength, even when I didn't see it myself. I was a first-generation college student, and graduating from UC Berkeley was an accomplishment in and of itself for me. When my parents led the Cultural Revolution in China, my being born here meant we made it. And I grew up having ambitions and dreams, but I didn't know how to give myself permission to go for it. And I didn't know my own power. I didn't know my own worth. I didn't know my own strength. And Dr. White had a way of making me feel seen and heard and reminding me of that. And so I am so eternally thankful to him for that. As a mentor, Dr. White also encouraged me to look into my biological and cultural roots, as does Mixed Roots Foundation does. He understood that not only would I have to benefit from his mentorship, that I should also seek out the mentorship of Asian women. And I think he had this just very deep understanding that our liberation is bound together. My freedom is tied to yours. And, you know, I identify as a non-white Asian American, and because I'm non-white, I automatically identify as bicultural because I'm the minority in this country. I'm non-white. And so when I reflect on what it means to be an American, I think about how American societal infrastructure has been built on the backs of Black people. And I guess when I think about how I want to contribute to the Freedom Train presently, in my current role as a medical student, as a career-changing medical student, currently, I am amplifying the voices of Black classmates at my medical school at the University of Washington. I'm advocating for the recruitment and retention of Black faculty, and just doing everything I can to combat essentially white supremacy and, you know, deconstructing the model minority myth and how we pit different minorities against each other. And so I think, yeah, when I think about how I want to contribute in the present and also in the future, I want to continue combating anti-Blackness in medicine and healthcare and institutions. I want to help advance equity and address health and socioeconomic disparities that disproportionately impact minority communities, and particularly Black and Indigenous communities. And, you know, Dr. White would say a degree is just the first thing. So when I get my MD, that's like the first thing, and then I can do whatever I want with it. And I think about Dr. White's work in Black psychology and how he's the godfather of Black psychology, and how he knew that mental health is tied to societal health. And I just think about how I want to continue his work in creating our beloved community, as he would say in reference to MLK, and create a world in which, you know, we are liberated through our psychology and through our medicine. And I will continue to bring others on board the Freedom Train. And as Nita pointed out, as Dr. White would always encourage us to mentor others. And, you know, if it's 5 people, that can mean a lot, because those 5 people reach out to another 5 people. And so I'll be doing that as well. And I guess I'm going to end here because I feel like I've been speaking for a little bit now. And I just want to say to the current scholars, huge congratulations and welcome aboard the Freedom Train.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Denise. We really appreciate your reflections. And, you know, I think that's the other aspect is with your field is with the medical and mental health, and that is so important. So, now I'm going to just share a quick, again, going back to when me and quite a few of us fellow mentees were at Dr. White's University of San Francisco. a new program, Inaugural with USF, I had to give Denise a ride home, and she's like, I'm not sure if I'm gonna, this is about, 6-7 years ago, right? And we, again, Dr. White's like, use your talent, be creative with what you got, and we proved that to him, didn't we?
We
And,
did. We did.
At
That
the time I had,
creativity.
exactly, at the time I had a smart car, and I said, we can do this. So just to share our creativity and also innovation with being Asian persuasion here, fellow Freedom Train Dr. White mentees, we got her bike in the smart car. So anyway, just wanted to share that. Again, thank you so much, Denise.
Thank you. That's what the modern day Freedom Train can look like.
That's right. Exactly. So thanks again for sharing, Denise. So we're going to move along because I know we're kind of running over time here, but we have an open mic, and there's a couple of folks that we wanted to kind of kick off. And then, of course, if anybody would like to share some reflections, otherwise we can kind of keep the train moving, is Mr. Jesse Moore Jr. He is the current president of UCI, a Black alumni chapter. And thanks for reaching out, Jesse. I know that you've been a very huge supporter and even part of with the legacy that Dr. Joe White had at UCI. So would love to have you share a few quick words, and thank you for joining us today.
Holly, thank you much. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Greetings, everyone. My name is Jesse Seymour Jr., 1980 graduate of UC Irvine, president and founding member of the UC Irvine Black Alumni Chapter. And I greet you on behalf of the chapter. I was blessed to take one of Dr. Joe White's classes in 1980. And when I think about him, these words come to mind: visionary, driven, focused, maximize your talent, man of great faith, mentoring, paying it forward. You see, Dr. Joe White cared about the future of those he would never meet. And so he made his legacy would live on through those he impacted. I'm just one of many. Holly, don't stop paying it forward. And God bless you for the great work you're doing.
Thank you so much, Jesse. There you are. All right. Well, we look forward to hopefully teaming up in the future. And I know that you do a lot of work at UCI and working with Black and Brown students. So continue your work there as well. And thank you so much for sharing and joining us today. And then I'd like to introduce another longtime mentor of mine very briefly. His name is Louis Moore. He's out of Minneapolis, and he is currently the president of the Major Taylor Cycling Club. And he's going to share a little bit about Major Taylor, but also his roots and relationship with Dr. Joe White. He also worked for, I think, over 20 years for Congressman Martin Sabo, who was very advocate for social justice in the community. And so, Louis, thank you so much for joining us. And please share a few words, and we'll have you back on later to share a little bit more how people maybe could get involved with Major Taylor.
Well, thanks, Holly. Can you hear me okay? Can you hear me okay? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you and see you.
Oh, okay. I think all of you know that Holly and I have an association of about 20 years, 21 years. I've been mentoring her since she was in college. I think all of you also understand that she's a great planner. She's a great leader. She's a great community person. And so I have to, any opportunity I get, I have to push forward that type of information about Holly, because you just don't run into people like this during your lifetime. At a very young age of 19, when I first met her, she was just like she is now. So you folks you should really feel great about having Holly leading this organization and being a part of your community, because she really does do the job and does do the job well. I did spend some time with Dr. White up here in Minneapolis when we had the African American Men's Project. He was our mentor for the project itself. We had opportunities to sit down every once in a while and have some nice conversations. A very good man, a very, very smart man. It was just really a pleasure to spend time and talk to him. I also spent some time with one of the previous speakers, Gary Cunningham. We all worked together on that project. But I'm just pleased that you were able to put this together, Holly, and make sure that this man's legacy is out there for people to understand. It's important that we're now able to bring people of consequence in the Black community forward and to be recognized for what they accomplished. As far as I'm concerned, and the George Floyd situation, I live 6 blocks from where it actually happened. Our whole community was impacted by this, but I am actually very thrilled about what I've been able to see happen in the last 3 months, not just in this state or this city, but across the country and across the world. As a person going on 80, I've seen a lot of things in my life, but this has been a real inspiration. And I hope people continue to understand what it's about and continue to move forward with putting everybody on an equal level. With that, I'll stop speaking. And again, Holly, thanks for doing a great job on this. You're an adopted daughter in this family, so we see you all the time.
Thank you so much, Louie. I really appreciate you being part of this. And we go way back. So yes, you're my brown adopted parents, because my parents are white, and you've been like a second dad to me. So thank you so much for being part of this. So I think we'll continue moving the train here. We are at a place where we get to announce our inaugural mentoring scholars. I hope all of you are still with us. And again, thank you so much for joining us. And I'm going to bring back my board chair, Kim Feeder with Banner Bank, and she's just going to share a few words about the actual scholarship. And then we'll go right into introducing our inaugural Dr. Joseph White, Pioneering the Way Mentoring Scholarship winners. So Kim, take it away. Let's see if Kim, maybe not. Well, we can keep it moving. So we're gonna go to our next mentoring scholar here. Our first
I'm here.
Oh, she is. Oh, here she is. Okay.
I'm here. Sorry. Okay. Thank you, Holly. I just wanted to make sure that before we announce and congratulate our inaugural, that should not be a hard word to say, inaugural Dr. Joe White Mentoring Scholarship winners for 2020. I'd like to touch upon how we identified these 5 talented individuals for recognition. The Mixed Roots Board worked together to identify 10 criteria on which each applicant would be evaluated for qualification. And we formalized the application process and publicized the opportunity through our outreach in the community. And we focused on organizations that support adopted and foster youth. The criteria included their affiliation with mentoring and being a mentee, their connection to adoption or foster care, and how they would use the funds towards educational purposes. Not only that, but we were very deliberate in judging responses and how they told their stories, how they presented their application, and the quality of the required essay. Once all applications were submitted, the board members of Mixed Roots read thoroughly and evaluated each application using a scale of points that we predetermined for each criterion. Those that received the highest scores are here today. And so I'll hand it back to you, Holly, for the special honors.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Kim. So we are here. I'm so honored to introduce you to our first mentoring scholar, inaugural mentoring scholar, Jessica Lucier. She is out of New York, and she is a mentor, and we're going to go right into her video. There she is, and here's her quick video.
I'm so honored to have been awarded this incredible scholarship on behalf of Dr. Joseph L. White. Mentorship has played a very big role in my life for many years now. I've had the wonderful fortune of having some incredible mentors in my life, professionally, personally, and academically. And I now have the wonderful honor of being a mentor myself. I am a part of New York City-based programming that connects adoptees, older adoptees, with younger adoptees and their families. And we work with younger kids to help provide some perspective and some guidance and some support on this very deep common bond that we all share, which is being adopted. And I can only imagine the impact that this would have had on my life at their age, had I had somebody a little bit older who is also adopted, who may experience some of the same things that I do as an adoptee, which is a very unique experience. So the bonds that I'm able to create through this program have been life-lasting. I've gotten to see kids grow and families, grow with their kids as adoptees through very difficult times and through very formative years. It's the most important and valuable work I have ever done, and I will continue to be a mentor as long as I can.
All right, thank you so much, Jessica. Just want to see where you at. Just say a quick hello. We're gonna actually have you part of our quick Q&A. So, all right, there she is. Yeah. There she is. There's Jessica.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you so much for being part, and congratulations. So
absolutely. Thank you so much, Holly. And thank you to everybody who's here today. It would have been such an honor to have been able to have gotten to know Dr. White. Hearing all these wonderful stories is very inspiring to me as somebody, as I said in the video, who's had the great fortune of having wonderful mentors in my life, along with being able to be a mentor to others in my community. I believe very strongly in uplifting the voices of adoptees and helping them find their identities and work in supporting this incredible group of people within the constellation. It's been the most important work that I've done, and this scholarship really allows for me to continue doing the work that I'm doing. I'm currently the director of the Spence Chapin Mentorship Program. I've also been a founding mentor in that program for about 17 years now. And I'm also the president of All Together Now, which is a Brooklyn-based mentoring program that serves adoptees and their families. This work is incredibly important, especially now more than ever with the changing times that we find ourselves in. And I'm very lucky to have been able to get to know so many wonderful people over the years who've been able to touch my life as much as I have them. So it's really an honor to be here with all of you today and to hear all of these wonderful stories about the impacts of mentorship in all of your lives and what you are able to give back to your community. So I thank you very much for this wonderful honor, and I look forward to hearing the rest of the stories from tonight and to learning more about Dr. White and his incredible work.
all right, thank you so much, Jessica. Congratulations again. And now we're going to move to Hayley Sayers. She's also a mentor, and she's out of Los Angeles. And we're going to move right to her quick video that we were able to pull together. So congratulations, Hayley, and we'll bring you out in a second.
Hey y'all, my name is Hayley Sayers, and I'm so excited to be part of this inaugural group of recipients for the Dr. Joe White Mentoring Scholarship this year. Growing up in a dysfunctional family left me without very many resources to thrive. My life course changed direction when my aunt and uncle adopted me at age 16. With their love, support, and guidance, I've been able to achieve my dreams and have even built up the courage to dream bigger. This year, I graduated from the USC Keck School of Medicine with my master's in public health policy. I am now a proud team member and research coordinator for the Violence Intervention Program that provides medical and mental health care services to a majority of foster youth throughout LA County. I am also a mentor with an organization called In the Making that has allowed me to work directly with youth who are facing some of the same struggles and conundrums that I dealt with growing up. Being mentored as well as mentoring others has had a profound impact on my life. and I'm so grateful for this opportunity to pay it forward through this scholarship in partnership with the Mixed Roots Foundation. Thank you so much, and congratulations, everybody.
Aw, thank you so much, Hayley. So where are you at? There she is.
Hey everyone. Thank you so much, Holly. This has been just a really amazing program. I honestly feel like very joyful and grateful to be here. And I think echoing some of what you said in the beginning of the program, that it's just been a kind of a whirlwind of a year. I think, you know, growing up, I struggled to really find community. And in addition to being adopted, I moved around a lot, and I reflect on, you know, the benefit of meeting so many different types of people from all over the world. But it's interesting now as I've gotten older, how much I just want to find my roots and be rooted, and, you know, kind of identifying with others who have that sort of transplant identity, right? But like I said, I'm just really grateful to be here and be able to hear more about Dr. Joe White. I didn't have the fortune of getting to know him, but just hearing the stories today, I feel like his legacy is really living on through all of us, and all the work that you've done with Mixed Roots and supporting youth and helping them find, you know, their purpose and their truth amidst all of the craziness that is kind of happening around us. And I've been reflecting a lot too on just everything that I've been able to do with VIP and within the making. And it's a work in progress. I'm still very new to mentoring. I've had the fortune of being mentored by a lot of different people, including my aunt and uncle who adopted me. But I think it's a growing process. So just the fact that you all are actually committed to helping people become mentors and strengthen their ability to mentor is really, really important. So thank you so much for all the work you're doing, and thank you all for being here today.
Yes, thank you so much, Hayley. Appreciate you being here, and congratulations again. And then we're going to go to our third mentoring scholar, and who is actually my mentee, Madeline Jimbalsik. She's out of San Francisco, and we'll go into her quick video right now. Right, here we go. So Madeline, where are you at? We just want to say a quick wave and hello to you. All right, there we go. Okay. Madeline's there, yeah?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can see you too, so great.
Great, yeah, no, I'm just, it's so amazing to be here. I'm really honored. And, you know, Ollie, you know, she's been in my life since I was like 13, I think. And you know, it's just been an incredible experience. And being able to have an organization kind of like Mixed Roots is meant a lot to me because, you know, well, my roots are pretty mixed. I mean, Chinese adopted by my parents who are white, but also German and Jewish. growing up in a town where I was the only Asian, and it's just, anyway. Well, it's great to have a organization that kind of can just reflect that.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Madeline. It's so great to have you be part of this, and congratulations. We're going to circle back with Q&A, and we'll keep the train moving. So we have Mr. Daniel Cooper, and we actually have a special treat where his mentor is going to be joining him to do a quick chat of what their mentoring story has been and their journey. And his name is Franco Vega. He's the mentor of Daniel, and Franco is also the executive director and founder of the Right Way Foundation. So we'll bring Daniel and Franco in just a couple quick minutes about how your mentoring relationship has been for both of you.
Well, I'll begin. My name is Franco Vega. First, I want to thank Mixed Roots Foundation and your board of directors. I want to personally thank Dr. White's family for sharing his legacy with us. I'm very proud of Daniel to be a part of Dr. White's legacy moving forward. Real quick, I am the founder of the Right Way Foundation. We're a unique program that caters to foster youth in South Central Los Angeles. We've been in business for about 10 years. And we created a program that, now hearing from Dr. White's story, we kind of followed his model without even knowing it. I do jobs. I get a lot of jobs. I get over 450 jobs for our transition age youth in South Central, from LA Live Staples Center to my board member owns about half the restaurants in LAX. But they're getting fired quicker than they were getting hired. And we started to notice that it was due to the trauma growing up in the foster care system. So that's when I made a transition to get rid of job developers and to bring on therapists and convert them over to job development. And that's been a model we have been taking across the United States, because we realize that no one is really focusing in on the trauma that my youth have faced growing up in the system. I'm personally a youth that came out of the system. I have some mixed roots too, so this is perfect for me personally. I'm Latino, adopted by an African-American family. They rescued me when I was in juvenile hall when my mom died. And so, yeah, this is awesome. This is a great honor for Daniel. I'm glad that you guys chosen him. It brings a lot of joy to me, because I know he's well deserved of this program. We don't take mentoring very lightly here at the Right Way Foundation. We even train all of our companies on becoming great mentors, managers, and leaders. And so without further ado, I'm gonna turn it over to my man, Daniel. And then last but not least, on behalf of the Right Way Foundation Board of Directors, my president, Nick Cruz, I just want to say thank you guys, and thank you guys. Daniel, go ahead, sir.
Hello, I'm Daniel Cooper. Man, mentoring for me, first of all, is an honor to be a part of something this big and bigger than me. I've always told myself I always like being a part of something that's bigger than what you can see and what you can touch. Franco has been my mentor for the last 7 years, and I grew up in the foster care system since the age of 6. So not really having grounds to have a good foundation to come up on was very hard. Saying that was like at the age of 18, just getting put out the system, not having nowhere to go, no family to lean on, just homeless in the streets, no guidance, didn't finish high school, to now, the person that I've become now is, I've looked at as a great evolvement. I ran into the justice system in my younger years when I was 18, 19, which led up to me being incarcerated for some time. Got out, and I told myself that's something that I never want to go experience again. And hopefully anybody younger than me, or even the same age as me, I can steer them if I see that they're in the wrong path. And so far, I've brought a couple of people through the same program, and they're succeeding in their little journey of life. And to me, that makes me feel good to see other people my age doing the right things in life, because it's so easy to do the wrong things. And it takes a strong support system in which I've grown to basically enhanced it into my life, because just being on your own, you just have this this chip on your shoulder that everything depends on you. So I would say this has been something good to hear, that there's more people out there that want to see other people succeed in their own path of life. And I'm just grateful to be a part of this movement. And thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. You dynamic duo there, and we really congratulations. And hopefully we can team up with you, Franco, with the work that we both do. So and to find out that you're a fellow adoptee as well. That's awesome. So we're going to move to our final mentoring scholar and keep this train moving. Is Jasmine Sakaniwa, and she is out of San Francisco. And we have a little quick video for her.
Hello, my name is Jazzy Sakaniwa, and I am a current graduate student in the School of Education at St. Mary's College of California here in the Bay Area, pursuing my master's in education and multiple subject credential. I'm so thankful to be a recipient this year of Dr. White's mentoring scholarship, and I am extremely motivated and excited to be pursuing a career in education and to hopefully one day be teaching elementary school in San Francisco.
So that wraps up our mentoring scholars, our 5 amazing, inspiring mentors and mentees. And again, congratulations to all of you for receiving this so important and critical scholarship to carry the legacy of Dr. Joe White. And so without further ado, we want to continue this program, and we're actually going to be wrapping up. And we have a special performance by artist, singer, performer, Drian. I met Drian. He had reached out to the Mixed Roots Foundation through our Foster Challenge in May, June. And he'll be sharing a little part of his story through just these 2 quick songs. And then he'll be able to answer a couple of questions, and then he's going to need to get going. But I wanted to, I thought that his music really kind of encapsulates not only the work we do because it's his personal story, but also the final song that he's going to sing is really encapsulates what Dr. Joe White really was all about. So so really works perfect. And so enjoy and check out Drian.
Blame the foster homes. I don't blame those boys who were beating me. I blame the system, the neglect. I was given 7 different medications by a therapist from social services. Every week I had to go in and give him an update about how I was and how I was doing and why I was feeling and why I did this and why I acted out this way. And I would leave with a new medicine. At the age of 6, I was on 7 different medications. 7. That made me drowsy, that made me suicidal, that made me lose weight, that made me hallucinate, that made me depressed. They use it. Because you are their property and no one is going to come get you out. I am life. And I know that about me because someone tried to take it from me. And if you've been through things like I've been through things, you feel that life has been drained from you, has been stripped from you. But the greatest help is knowing that other people hear you. With the people who are neglecting us, hear us. This is my story. And there's so much more to it. It cannot be taken from me. It cannot be altered. It cannot be changed. Because this is who I am. My name is Dreon, and this is my story.
Did you stop and listen to the cry of the foster children missing mommy? There's a little boy, he could die. We'll save him from the hell if he's somewhere in the clouds. Oh, deeper than the cry, no one hears there. My tears were all in vain. Listen to the rain. Yeah. Oh, I will. Oh, I'm calling on my brothers and sisters, system chain. Our names will fall from heaven, so heaven, let it rain. Let it rain. Pour down the truth and flood the streets. Oh, let it rain. Rain on me. Keep on moving, for change. He's coming. Keep on running, believe it. Keep moving, for a change is coming. Keep on running, keep moving, for is coming. Keep on running, just believe it, keep moving, coming. The future is here and now. I am the future. You are the future. And together we can be the change of tomorrow if we only remember the power of our voices, the impact of our history, and the effectiveness of our music. We hold the fate of the future in our hands. So what are we going to do with it? Don't be the problem. Be the change.
So, wow, there you go. So take that for a finale and a awesome ending to our former program. We're going to be sharing some resources, but Drian, thank you so much for being part of this program. And I know you have a little bit of limited time, but just wanted to have you kind of share after you've heard some of the stories with Dr. White. And then I know that you're from his roots. And so thank you, and feel free to share a few words.
No, thank you so much, Holly. And as you said back in May, I reached out to just partner with Mixed Roots, and it's been amazing. The events that we've had together and that we've shared together have been amazing. As I call myself, a survivor of the foster care system. It's definitely just amazing to be a part of this greater message as well, because this is something that's near and dear to my heart, especially the message about being the change. And with everything that's happening and going on, I believe that my music is soul therapy. I believe that it definitely deals with the deepest parts of the soul, to encourage, to inspire, to shed light on all of the things that are happening now in today's society and world. And, as a young Black African-American young man from Omaha, Nebraska, which is Dr. White's roots, it's amazing to know that that there are great things that we can do together when we actually understand the destination that we're going to, and we all have one vision. I'm a recent graduate of Berklee College of Music with a bachelor's in songwriting. And I'm a Bill Gates Millennium Scholar, as well as a Susan and Warren Buffett Susan and Warren Buffett Thompson Scholar as well, 2 full ride scholarships. And I'm a husband and I'm a father. So I just think that all of this is truly just overwhelming and amazing to hear all of these amazing stories, all of these great individuals who are doing amazing work in the field of foster care and the many fields of adoption as well, because that is a topic that is really dear and near to my heart, because I've experienced it, I've lived through it, I've been through so many traumatic things in that system, and I think that I am a miracle, and I believe that giving the music that I give and that I share and my story, and I think that is the group of individuals that I feel passionate to uplift and inspire amongst the many other groups. So thank you for having me. This has been an amazing program. It's been amazing to hear everyone's story, everyone's input on Dr. White's life. And unfortunately, I didn't get to meet him, but I mean, he was and forever will be an incredible man. And I'm just thankful for all of his work that he's done. And as an Omaha native, it's amazing to also know that we have that connection as well. So I hope to continue the legacy as well as an Omaha native. So thank you, Holly.
Thank you so much, Drian. And I know you need to get going, but we did want to open up to kind of Q&A. We want to also bring back our mentoring scholar, Jaslyn Sakaniwa, live. But if just really quickly, if anybody has any questions for Drian, we would love to just shout out quick, and you can either chat or let us know, and you can ask away. Again, and what's really exciting is Drian will be featuring a couple of actually 3 of his songs in an upcoming movie called Foster Boy. So you guys should check that out, coming out, I think, in September. And the executive producer of that film is one of heads and founded one of the community partners that we'll be mentioning later. So, but Drian, again, thank you so much for being part of our program, and we look forward to continue partnering with you.
No, definitely. Thank you, Holly.
Awesome. Well, we're going to continue. I'd like to bring back Jaslyn, and there she is.
Hi,
All
Holly.
right. So just really quick question with you, Jaslyn, just to kind of do a brief Q&A, and then we'll go into our community resources. But how has it been with, you know, accomplishing your education and then just, you know, your future.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to say thank you for having me here today. I'm super honored to be one of the recipients of Dr. White's scholarship and to be a part of this community. And to answer your question, honestly, it's been kind of incredible. So, I mean, I'm a first generation college student from St. Mary's College of California. And I honestly wouldn't be where I am today without the High Potential Program, which is a program for first generation and low income students at St. Mary's. I had the honor of being a mentee in that program and then took that mentorship with my mentor and turned it into a mentorship with other mentees. And so I said, like, this process of mentoring is so important. And I think it has brought me to like where I am today. And I'm super excited to be a part of a community that really empowers first generation college students to be resilient and just really strive for their dreams. So yeah, but thank you for having me here today, Holly.
Oh, yes, no, thank you for being part of today's program and congratulations. And then so to kind of start wrapping up, because I know we're way overdue with time. So for the ones that are still riding the train with us, we do have some resources we'd like to share with you. I know that a lot of you have your own, but just kind of for the folks that work with adoption, foster care, and mentoring, we just wanted to point out a few. And so Spence Chapin, I don't know if Mark is still with us, but we'd like to have him just share a quick couple words. Mark, are you still here?
Yes, I am still here. Can you hear me?
Thank you for hanging in there. We can hear you. There you are. Awesome.
Okay, well, I know we're running a little bit late, Holly, but I want to thank Mixed Roots and you for inviting us to this really inspiring program. And just to tell you a little bit about our program at Spence Chapin, which has been an adoption agency for over 100 years and has changed with the culture of adoption throughout all these years. Our mentorship program, which Jessica, who you met earlier, everyone is a part of and running, it's a group that mixes adult adoptees with tweens and teens in a social setting. So we meet once a month, usually outdoors at an event to do something together. And we meet also 3 times a year in our offices to discuss and start a dialogue around adoption related things like identity, like race, and things of that nature, because adoptees, lots of times, this is when they start to come to the realization of their identity, their difference from their family. They don't biologically look like them, and they're starting to question and really want to know who they are in the world, what their place in the world is. And sometimes it's hard to have these conversations with your friends because they're not adopted. They don't understand. They don't understand this difference. And sometimes even your family doesn't understand this difference. And that's where, you know, this huge piece of race comes in, because when a child comes into a family through adoption, that child's race comes into that family through adoption. And that family becomes a part of that child's race and vice versa. It's not a one-way street. And we create all this programming, which culminates at the last stage of childhood, our mentorship program, in ways that families, because they've already learned about race and bringing a child of a different race into your home through the home study process. Now it's how do you live it? So we create events where they can meet families of other races, families of other cultures. It starts very young with the bagels and blocks type of thing and moves up. But ultimately, and we have programming throughout the year, we have a series what will be going on for the next 6 months. It's already been going on for 3 months, race and racism and the adoptive family, because the more you talk about it, the more language you have around it, the better you can communicate it and understand it, the better your family can talk about it, the better parents can protect their child both physically and emotionally as they enter the world as a child of a different race. So once again, Holly, thank you for all your support. I've seen Dr. Joseph White's pictures. in different things, but to learn this about him was really inspiring. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Mark, for saying a few words. You guys are a great partner and has been fun to work with and representing New York. So thank you. And we have VIP, the Violence Intervention Program. I'm not sure if Kathryn is still on, Kathryn Rose, but we've been working with them with their mentoring, and of course, Hayley with one of the mentoring scholars. So, so we'll continue on. And then we also have Friends for Youth, their education based out of the Bay Area. We have Karen Wilmer. And then we also have the First Star. We're working with them. They work with foster youth. Oh, there's Kathryn. So here we go. Yeah. So Kathryn Rose Grimes, she works with a VIP program, and would love for her to just share a quick few words about their mentoring and the most recent ongoings of the pandemic and foster youth.
Right, thank you, Holly. And yeah, good afternoon for those that are still on. I'm Kathryn Rose Grimes. I'm a social worker and the head of the new Foster Youth Mentoring Collaborative, developing and managing a mentorship program for specifically foster youth. And so I'm at the Violence Intervention Program Community Mental Health Center in East LA. And so I've been partnering with mentoring programs, services, resources throughout LA County to best support foster youth. And I want to mention Hayley that was featured as an inaugural mentoring scholar, which is fabulous. She's so wonderful and can provide great leadership and mentorship to so many. So I've been working with Violence Intervention Program, and I also, for the past 5 years, have been mentoring youth in juvenile halls throughout LA County. But I've been asked just to share a few words about how I've addressed race and diversity and social justice through my work with foster care, mental health, and mentoring. And just some points are really trying to engage, collaborate, learn from, and with various diverse colleagues, diverse community leaders that are both youth and adults, and former foster youth as well. Working to improve our training strategies with our mentors, our colleagues, and our community members so they can be educated and culturally competent, to provide targeted outreach to community partners and business leaders task force that promote racial justice, social justice through projects and programs, events, as well as sustainable models that we can learn from and possibly work with. And so at VIP, I've helped develop and manage program services and resources, as well as try to match one-on-one mentors with mentees, and include educational, leadership, life skills, and career building opportunities for these youth so they can be educated, they can be empowered, and they can be contributing members of our community. And in the development, it's been wonderful and very important to incorporate the foster youth testimonials on what are their needs, what are their wants, what are their interests, what are their hopes and dreams in the world. They can be anything that they want to be, and nothing can limit them. And we so try to promote that. So we tailor our programming to best fit their needs and wants. And just to lastly say that mentorship is so important, and Holly's just been a great leader in the community and promoting that. And it's so important to give foster youth specifically, because I work with them, a voice, a platform to share their voices, and to let them know that anything that the things that they think about, they say, do, feel are all important, and they're validated. And for at least one person to be that positive role model and mentor for them, because that can really change their life. And lastly, to try to be real with them, not sugarcoat things, and they'll be real back. Those are just some points, and I personally and professionally try to learn more and engage better so I can best promote the foster youth, let them succeed in life. So thanks, Holly.
Yes, thank you so much, Kathryn, and congratulations with Hayley being one of our inaugural mentoring scholars. So, and then we have, as I was mentioned, Friends for Youth, that they're out of the Bay Area in 5 Acres. I'm actually also a mentor for 5 Acres. I mentor a former foster youth and was adopted by an aunt and uncle as well, kind of similar to Hayley. And I'm not sure if Wendy's on, but 5 Acres has been a great organization to team up with and work with. So that wraps up our mentoring resources. And again, thank you so much for our community partners. First Star actually focuses on education for foster youth across the country. So we'll be working with them, and you'll be hearing a little bit more about the work they do in the future through the education piece that we're working with. And the founder and president of First Star is or rather the CEO is Peter Samuelson, and he's the executive producer of the Foster Boy film that's going to be coming out in September with Drion's music. So very exciting. So we're going to wrap up last with the community and education resources. This is kind of to tie up with our kind of, continuing the freedom train of Dr. Joe White. These are some of his affiliations. I'm going to bring back my mentor, if Louis is still there, to just really quickly talk about Major Taylor. And then also just, with the Association of Black Psychologists, again, the Education Opportunity Program for Cal State, North Point, as Gary has mentioned, and Pillsbury with Tony, and with UCI. As you probably saw in the Legacy video, the Cross Cultural Center for UCI, they had a big mural of Joe with all the work he's done for UCI. So I don't know if Louis is still there, but okay, so that's good. Okay, we're gonna keep it going, and we're gonna wrap up. So again, thank you so much for all of you for being part of this special program. We kind of pulled this together quickly. And again, next steps, we'd love for you to join the Freedom Train. All the special invitations from Dr. White's daughter, Dr. Lisa White, to fellow Freedom Train riders, and also for the future of our Dr. Joe White mentoring scholars. You can donate, but also we would love to actually create a Freedom Train Portraits program series. And this would be highlighting all the work and even can include our mentoring scholars and keeping up with everybody and what they're doing and how they're continuing the legacy of Dr. White. So to continue, this is our, this is also, I'll just again want to say thank you to all of our sponsors or partners, and they will continue to be partners and leaders with the work we're doing with the Freedom Train portraits. We're hoping to increase the amounts of scholarships, not only in the amount awarded, but also in the number of mentoring scholars, even for 2021. Again, Fiona, California State Treasurer, LA City Controller, Ron Galperin, OC28, they helped us with all the IT and Zoom keeping. Again, Banner Bank, Jeff Street, our board chair that really brought them on as a sponsor, Drion, and all of our community partners. So, and that is it. So again, thank you so much for kind of bringing all of this together as our inaugural event. And you can actually check us out. We did reserve the domain freedomtrainportraits.org. We're going to be working on that. So that could be a open canvas and also a separate website to keep the Freedom Train going. So reach out to us, chat, email, and we would love for you to, not only be with the part of the work of Mixed Roots Foundation, but carry the legacy of Dr. White, but also all of your legacies with the Freedom Train, because as all of you have shared, is that we can't do this alone. We must come together, and the time is now. And so again, congratulations to our inaugural mentoring scholars. Thank you, each and every one of you, for sharing your story about Dr. White. I miss him dearly, and hope you have a great rest of your day and week. And please reach out, and we'd love to have you be part of our programming in the future. Thank you.
Take care, Holly.
Yes, thank you.
I'll be in touch with you.
Yes, let's do it. Appreciate it. Okay, so
Holly, you can end the recording.
yeah, let's see. Okay, I'm gonna stop. Well, actually, I just wanted to wrap up. I know some of you are still on. Yeah, here we go. Looks like Bonnie's there. Bonnie, are you there? So how do you think everyone went?
One sec.
Okay, so Bonnie's there. Great.
Hey,
Hi,
Holly.
Bonnie.
How are you?
Oh, I'm so glad you could join us.
Yes,
Here, hold on. We're still recording live on YouTube.
Oh, okay. Oh, let me